kinds of stories to share. Little rundown of what has happened actually today. The first part of it was basically the same as last week, actually up till noon. From noon on, that light started to shine. I was asked, how was last week? Was it very exhausting? And really my answer was no, it was not exhausting, it was deadening. Emotionally, myself not being drained, but just feeling dead, feeling no life. So that, thank God, afternoon around, 3 o'clock, many of you sisters and brothers joined us, and so there was a spark of light in the courtroom. So that really for the morning bit, I'm not sure, maybe if you have some question that you would like to ask in regard to it. It was a matter of the jury selection, as was the whole past week. And we had then waived our right to an alternate juror, and so that finally at around 2:30 the courtroom was open. So there really wasn't anything happening this morning that was not otherwise happened last week. That we had the whole panel of 48 jurors brought in. Of course, again, there was a rather little strange thing, since all of these jurors had been investigated for a week, you know. And so the judge had these 48 folks there, and he basically asked them two questions. One was, does blood actually prejudice you to the point that you could not be fair and impartial? And the second question was, has anything happened here that would cause the same thing? One man raised his hand. What happened here? One of the first 4 jurors. And so the judge said, okay, everybody into the little chamber in the back. So we had gone back there, and the man also, and the DA, and said, well, you know, you couldn't be fair. No, I'm biased. Why? Huh? Well, he says, I was in Vietnam, and I am from, again, what is the place in Rochester, New York? Is it Rochester, Dean? Where Phil and Dan had been raised. And Syracuse, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry, Syracuse. And I take contracts from the police there, and I'm biased. I could not be impartial. And etc. So finally, he said, well, thank you, brother. Huh? And this is one of the first 4 jurors chosen. And so he was excused. And so that was the only, but thank God, well, not thank God, but yes, of course, to be thanking God for all things, but that he was honest enough to say, no, he could in no way be unbiased. He was biased, period. And that was it. So that was one of the, so we then chose the jurors, that the whole group was there, and it was a matter then of striking, that we had, I think, 17 strikes, and the DA had 17 strikes also. And then it was a matter of to be passing this sheet back and forth, and all that business. And so it was really kind of, as I say, dead. You know? But anyway, that was finally finished, and a few motions, and then we finally opened up the court at approximately. Actually, the judge was wanting to bring in 4 more jurors. In fact, he was wanting 60 total, but we had 48. We only needed that number. But he was going to have 60, but we said, well, you don't need them. So he said, okay. And so that was at least finished. So are there any questions that you might want to ask about the morning sessions or the afternoon? Some of you haven't been there. The afternoon sessions, we had the opening statements from the state, and 3 of our sisters and brothers made opening statements also. Sister Ann and Phil and Dean made opening statements for ourselves, with 3 of them reserved, that there will be 3 other opening statements after the state will produce its case. Are there any questions that you might want to ask? It's really, yes.
After the opening statements, then what happens and how long it will go on? Do you have an idea?
Well, you know, last Monday, when actually, Elmer, myself, and John were in, the judge said that this case goes to the jury by Friday. Well, that was last Friday. It was supposed to have been closed by last Friday. So as far as our guess, because that's about it all, I think we may be occupied this week. But, the whole week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I think. But you never know. It's a moment-to-moment thing. Yes?
Is there any indication that the judge is going to allow the outside witnesses, of the expert witnesses on to raise the issues of the arms race and nuclear weapons?
We hope so. There seems to be a flicker of hope. Probably ruled out of order at some point, but we hope that some of these statements might be made. And that's just a hope. I don't know if that answers your question, but are there any other questions? Yes?
Was there any discussion of moving to larger courtrooms so that everybody could get in?
Oh, this is long-standing. We would like to have. I guess most of the folks did make it in today, didn't you? I mean, I don't know if there's anybody out there. Pardon? About it? Well, we would wish, but I guess this is one of the bigger courtrooms, and we're very thankful that it's there. We tried and have tried to move into something larger yet, but that's out. That the judge refused actually. And I would invite you that when you walk in, squeeze together, huh? And we'll get more in. Okay? Are there any other questions? A little point that I do have, now that's my rundown. My second point is that the last time I was up here for a one-liner, or two-liners, I said the way to really support us is to go to GE and laid out of the doors. I must have been misunderstood, because the very next day they laid out in the streets. Thank you, Sister and Brother. Really beautiful, huh? But I think one of the, one very important thing for us, if we cannot be joyful people with resurrection joy, then nobody in the world can. Huh? That's why with Jay and the singing and the dancing and that they're really, honestly, I at times think we take ourselves too seriously. Really, huh? And that the joyfulness of the risen Christ, I think most of you know the best year of my life was in 1978 when I served a one-year sentence. I was closer to God, myself, and all people. I'd love to live my whole life like that. Huh? It was a real blessing. The joyfulness, it was great, huh? So this is one thing that I think is very important, the joyfulness. So that what that means, the singing, the dancing, the sharing, the joyfulness. Anyway, that's my second point. The third one is that we should not expect to be getting off very easily. What am I saying? Well, last year, 10,000 were killed in El Salvador. I've worked in the Philippines 3 years, in Latin America 4 years, and I'm sure many of my folks or whatever have starved since I've left. Huh? Folks are dying and starving and being killed. Jesus didn't end up on a bed of roses. Huh? So, for us to expect otherwise, I think is fooling ourselves. The only thing I don't like about the gospel is that Jesus on the cross still somehow smiling or saying, Jesus, our God, parent, I've done it. I've tried to do your will, and I'm satisfied. I'm kind of still joyful that I could, it's not very nice, huh? But that's anyway. But my point that we should not expect to be getting off easily. A lot of people in the world are dying and starving right now. El Salvador is a very good example. Archbishop Romero was killed, huh? 10,000 other people in 1980. Yet, what have we done, or what is required of us with Hitler's with Hitler's gas ovens, 4 to 6 million? It would have been beautiful if 10,000 Christians had been killed trying to stop that. It would have been beautiful, in my personal judgment. Franz Jugerstatter was killed, and there were some others. But there were 4 to 6 million people incinerated in those gas ovens. Huh? So, in a certain sense, I guess it was the man for all seasons who's, as he was being fried on the griddle, said, "Turn me over, I'm done on one side." That's kind of, I think, the whole story. There's going to be suffering. It's not going to be, if you know anything about jails, they're hellholes, inhuman, but yet we can still have the resurrection joy. Huh? So sisters and brothers, I guess that's basically, I'm not sure whether I have gone past my time, but those are the things that I would like to leave you with. The joyfulness and the fact that it may be a little rougher in many, many ways. With Peter DeMott, who is going to be sentenced, I think, on Friday, 1 to 10, is it, John Bach, that he's facing? 5-year possible. Huh? Say, boy, that's bad. Well, 10,000 plus people in El Salvador had it even worse. Huh? I'm not saying that's not bad. It is. But it may require some real strength on our part. And God will be there. Our parent is around. Huh? And we as sisters and brothers join together. We can support one another. We can make it through. Sure, we plod along. It's difficult. It's tough. And it's not nice. Talk to Jim about our 2.5 months up there, that he joined me for about 2.5 months, huh? There's another little story that I'm going to share with you, huh? I was there for about 2-3 months, and then Jay came up, and they assigned you to jobs, huh? So Jay was assigned to the factory where they make furniture, which is a real no-count job. You have to always be on your feet. You can't. I couldn't find words. But anyway, and you can't sit down. You can't smoke and whatever. But at that time, one of the folks who had been there had been released and had made out a whole layout. The fact is that there was a big rip-off going on there. So the FBI came to investigate. Huh? So Jay went to work the first day and saw his boss says, "Well, when are you going to be indicted?" Second day, he meets his boss and says, "I guess you're going to be indicted pretty soon too, huh?" About the 3rd, 4th, 5th day, they moved Jay out of there. So, again, those little funny, strange things, those things happen. God bless you, sisters and brothers. It's a joy to be here, and I think my time is sufficient. God bless you.